Hey everyone, I've been using the iPhone 15 Pro Max since the day it came out almost 6 months ago. I've taken it all over the world, I've used it almost every single day, and today I'll be telling you about my long-term experience using this device. This video is sponsored by AeroPress. Stick around to find out how to get 15% off the original AeroPress and 15% off the newly launched AeroPress Clear and XL to make an amazing cup of coffee anywhere and very easily. So I of course went with the natural titanium iPhone 15 Pro Max with the base model storage, 256GB, and honestly I just love this color. And to this day it still looks brand new. The only thing I've added here is a screen protector to the front, but besides that I've been using it without a case or anything, and there's basically no damage on this device despite even dropping it a few times here and there. The sides look great, the back looks great, and it just looks beautiful. And even though the design is still kind of the same compared to past iPhones, I personally still love the design. It feels futuristic, it looks futuristic, and I'm a fan. Now, the front display is also excellent here too. It gets super bright and has very thin bezels all around with a nice subtle curve to the glass. It's a very simple but welcome change. It gets extremely bright both indoors and outdoors, and watching videos, scrolling around on social apps, just daily usage, it feels amazing. And the colors in this display are also extremely accurate, so if you're taking a lot of photos and videos, what you see on this device is what you're going to get. It's a beautiful overall display. And of course the dynamic island, it's a year old at this point, but it still feels pretty new and different. If anything, it's a very different approach to solving the problem of a notch or a hole punch on your device, because it turns that weakness into kind of a feature, I guess. It hides all those sensors for Face ID and the camera, and using software, it brings a whole bunch of new features and ways to interact with the operating system. It gives you context menus, more information, more controls, and it's all certainly welcome. Way better than having a notch. Two new design changes. The first one is of course the action button. Now, I was actually very excited about the action button. Being able to have a customizable button on an iPhone just felt like the dream, but during daily usage it all just kind of fell apart for me. Essentially, it's not just a simple button press like a volume button or the power button, it's a press and hold situation. So by default, pressing and holding turns the mute switch on or off. But with this brand new settings menu, you can actually change it to a variety of preset functions like launching an app or a function, do not disturb, stuff like that. Or you can set your own shortcuts, so pressing and holding can activate a series of functions that you decide. Or you can have it open up a specific app. Or what I had it set for a while was a shortcuts folder with different shortcuts to apps, functions, and smart home sequences. So more than one option is possible. But after about like a week of using this and trying it out, I just ended up switching back to the default mute switch option. Because honestly, I really just missed having that physical button for mute and ring. I had the virtual button for a while on my little shortcuts menu option, but I just really did like the physical way of switching the phone from mute to silent and vice versa. But the other big change which I really love here is USB-C. Getting rid of the lightning port was an amazing move, so now across all my devices except for my AirPods Max, I can just plug in one cable and charge everything up. It's fantastic. It also just makes the everyday much easier with this device. Finding a charger is so much easier because pretty much USB-C is very standard. You can go anywhere and find a USB-C charger. I also use this phone for taking a lot of photos and videos, and plugging in a Thunderbolt 4 cable into this device and into my laptop, I can transfer all those clips and photos at an incredibly fast speed, like it's very noticeable. There's also things like plugging an SSD directly into the iPhone and recording ProRes footage from the phone directly onto the SSD, which is really the dream. So, thanks Apple. Now, on the topic of shooting photos and videos with this device, I gotta say, it's probably the best thing about this phone. Now this year there is a few new changes to the overall system here, but first to start out with the front-facing selfie camera, which is kind of the same as last year, but it's still pretty great. Okay, this is the front-facing camera on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You're also hearing the audio quality from this device as well. It records video in 4K up to 60 frames per second. It also does have autofocus, so if you move around, you get closer, you get far away, it always keeps you in focus. And you can also, bring objects close up to the camera. They get focused as well. It's a simple feature, but it's pretty sweet. But the rear cameras, that's where things get really exciting with this device. So first of all, there's all around bigger sensors across the cameras. The main camera is a 48 megapixel shooter which shoots beautiful 24 megapixel photos by default or 48 megapixels in RAW. But of course there are also two other cameras. There's a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera with a 120 degree field of view and autofocus, and it can also be used for macro shots as well. And the new 12 megapixel 5x telephoto zoom camera too. There's also the magic 2x telephoto zoom camera which uses the main camera but crops in and uses a bunch of software to make it look sharp and high resolution. It also kind of changes the way the image looks as well to make it much more realistic to a 2x telephoto zoom camera, and honestly I love this feature. I sometimes use this more than I use just the main 1x camera. And in between the 1x and 2x zoom modes, there's also these new software-enabled lenses at 28mm and 35mm, which also have the same effect as a 2x zoom camera, but honestly, I just turned them off. I'm not really a fan of these lenses and they just kind of got in the way while shooting. So photos across these cameras are very impressive, and the iPhone, unlike some other flagship phones, maintains a very consistent look with colors, contrast, and other details across all the cameras. It's like using one camera with different lenses versus 3 different cameras. That's how good it is. And you can also see just how much range this camera setup provides, and I've taken so many photos over the past few months, and I really just love these cameras. It's quite literally just point and shoot, and on all the trips I've been on and even professional shoots, it has been a game changer to have this set of amazing cameras. Now, for video, 4K up to 60 frames per second is absolutely beautiful, and without a doubt, the iPhone shoots the best video on any smartphone, period. I've tested this phone extensively for video recording, and I've used it to shoot my 15 Pro Max day in the life, as well as my latest Vision Pro video almost in its entirety, and many other videos as well. Day-to-day video is stellar. The iPhone kills it for colors, contrast, sharpness, and natural-looking smooth stabilization across all 3 cameras. So the cameras once again are incredible. No gimmicks, no nonsense, just great quality, great performance, and I love shooting with this phone. Now before we move on to the next part about this device, let's talk about today's sponsor, AeroPress. This is really a dream collab for me because I love coffee, and the AeroPress is simply an amazing product that lets you make a great cup of coffee easily and anywhere. I've loved using this at home or taking it with me to the studio or on trips. Featuring 3-in-1 brew technology, immersion, aeration, and pressure to give you the best, purest, and least bitter flavor possible in a cup of coffee. It makes beautifully rich, smooth, and delicious coffee, and you can brew a cup basically anywhere. Just add fine ground coffee and water, give it a quick stir, add boiling water for espresso style or cold water to make instant cold brew, and press down gently to brew up a beautiful cup of coffee into your favorite mug. And you can see it all happening in real time. And cleanup is very easy. That's it. With thousands of 5-star reviews around the world, it really is a no-brainer and worth a try. Hit the link in the description down below and use the code KNOOPSY for 15% off your order of the original AeroPress or new Clear and XL models. Huge thanks to AeroPress for sponsoring this video, and now back to the iPhone. So let's talk performance. Every year I pretty much say the exact same thing about performance when it comes to iPhones, but I'll say it again. Pretty much any iPhone you can go to the store and buy today, or pretty much really any phone you can buy today, is going to be ridiculously fast. There's going to be no lag, no slowness, no waiting for things to open. Apps open and multitasking are not going to be reloading nonstop. Gone are those days of just annoyances with performance on your device. This is a flagship phone, it's going to perform great, it's going to be crazy fast. It's really not even a discussion anymore. It's just a super fast phone, and early on when I got this phone, the software was a little bit kind of buggy and had a few little interesting quirks here and there, but these days, software is very smooth, no random reboots. It's just been a very nice and smooth experience. And obviously my software setup is a little bit customized with my own wallpaper pack and icon pack, which are linked in the description down below. And I've also used an app called Clear Spaces to have these transforming widgets, which I really love having on my device. And here are some free codes, right here. they're gonna go quick, so get on those fast. I'll link clear spaces in the description down below as well. I finally found the perfect setup for my phone, both functionally and visually. I personally love it. Okay, finally let's talk about battery life. Now with the 14 Pro Max, early on battery life was pretty good, but later on into the year, it started to really degrade and degrade quickly. By like the early afternoon some days I'd have to just stop, charge it up, and then go on with my day to charge it up again at night. Honestly, not a great experience. I genuinely had battery anxiety with that phone, but with this device, it's significantly better, at least right now. It's the same capacity as last year, but it feels much more optimized and just seems to last without having any anxiety throughout the day. Now, if I really do push my phone a lot, watching a lot of videos, having maps on, full brightness on, shooting a lot of photos and videos for a project, yeah, the battery's gonna drain a lot quicker, but in day-to-day usage, just a normal day, it lasts till late evening, no problem, no stopping to charge. It's really good battery life. I charge up the phone every night using MagSafe and have all those features enabled for, slow charging and to enable long-lasting battery life on the device. But for quick charges throughout the day, I have one of these Nomad 30-watt chargers which I use, plug it in USB-C, and that's it. Good to go. Okay, to conclude, the iPhone 15 Pro Max really is incredible. I really don't have any complaints. Now, some things like the action button, some things like those new software-enabled lenses are features that Apple put into this device to make it feel new, exciting, and different, but honestly, it's really a testament to how good the previous iPhone was, because without those new features, it's kind of the same thing. At this point, we've honestly hit peak iPhone, because there's really nothing new or different here that Apple could add to make it even better. Like, maybe even better battery life, maybe faster charging, maybe a brighter display, I don't know, maybe more cameras, but besides that, it really is just perfect. And yeah, I know this is an expensive device, but if you do buy it, it's gonna be a great phone for years and years and years. And also, it has years of software updates too, so it'll stay up to date, it'll stay fresh, and it's just a fantastic phone. Overall, I love this phone. It's an amazing creative tool. It's been a great sidekick all around the world traveling with it, and I'd definitely buy it again. And that's pretty much it. Let me know your thoughts on the iPhone 15 Pro Max in the comments down below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe, and thank you for watching.